Amphibians are the first of the tetrapods, or four-limbed vertebrates, which include frogs, salamanders, and caecillians. Amphibian is Greek for double life, since most amphibians have an aquatic fish-like tadpole stage and an adult terrestrial stage. All amphibians must live near water or some form of moisture. Some species live in damp soils or rock crevices their entire life. Amphibians evolved over 350 million years ago during the Devonian period. Since there was less vertebrate competition, this was known as the Age of Amphibians. All amphibians have moist skin made by mucus glands. This allows the amphibians to absorb water rather than to drink it, and it is one way in which amphibians breathe. Respiration is also achieved by the lungs in terrestrial adult species, or gills in tadpoles or fully aquatic species. They possess nostrils to bring air in and is forced down the throat into the lungs. As adults, amphibians are carnivores, with some having sticky tongues to capture prey. They also have small teeth at the edge of their jaws. They have well-developed image-forming eyes with color vision. Typically, colorful animals have color vision since color is a means of communication or warning to other species. Ears are also found, but best developed in frogs where they have an external tympanum or eardrum. They need this to create calls. Their tympanum is attached to auditory bones which transmit vibrations as auditory messages. Though amphibians have been in existence for over 350 million years, it is thought that they evolved from ancient lobe-finned fish similar to modern-day lungfish. Movement from water to land required adaptations for respiration and combating gravity in the form of lungs and strong limbs. The discovery of Tiktaalik in northern Canada in 2006 was a game changer in our understanding of fish to amphibian evolution. This fish had a fully formed humerus, which is your upper arm bone, and lived in shallow water environments moving from pool to pool. It had gills and lungs, but lost some gill elements to give it fully functioning neck. I recommend reading the book Your Inner Fish, which is written by scientist Neil Shubin, who discovered the species. Tiktaalik had eyes on the top of its head and an elongated jaw, indicating that it was likely a lion-weight predator similar to alligators. 10 million years later, two aquatic tetrapods, Ichthyostega and Acanthostega, arose and had both gills and lungs as well as four limbs with the complete bone structure. These bones were too weak to support them on land at great lengths, so they likely walked from pool to pool in shallow freshwater habitats. Let's get started with the different groups of amphibians. First is order Urodela, also known as the salamanders. There are 6,700 species of amphibians all around the world. 620 of them are salamanders. These animals appear most similar to ancestral amphibians, having four limbs and a tail. They can be completely aquatic, semi-aquatic, to fully terrestrial as adults. Although there are 620 species worldwide, most of the amphibian species in Kentucky are salamanders. In fact, the Great Smoky Mountains and much of southern Appalachia have the greatest concentration of salamanders in the world, some found only on specific mountains. Salamanders move by lateral undulation since the legs are small and weak, making them more fish-like. Most salamanders are lungless, relying on their gills to breathe by the use of costal grooves. Others have gills or lungs only, or sometimes both. Salamander reproduction is done internally, where males and females have elaborate courtship displays. Males produce a spermatophore, which is a stalk of sperm, and the female sits on it. Aquatic salamanders lay their eggs in water and develop into larvae. Terrestrial salamanders lay eggs in damp nests where females guard the eggs. The offspring develop into miniature adults. This is a hellbender, the largest salamander in North America, which can achieve lengths of up to 2 feet long. They tend to be found in mountain cold water streams. Here's a green salamander, which is native to Kentucky and many parts of the southeast, found in rock crevices of rock outcrops all around Appalachia. The Cumberland Plateau salamander is one of many species of slimy salamander that puts out a sticky white substance when it is feeling threatened and handled. Around 80% of all amphibians are frogs, order Anura. Anura means without a tail. They vary in size but have a similar body plan with a squatty torso, long hind limbs for jumping, and large eyes. To avoid predators, many frogs have camouflage, or they produce toxins in the skin to either make them taste awful or to avoid or harm predators. When dogs try to eat toads, for example, it causes many of them to foam at the mouth. Frog reproduction is done externally and in the water where females lay their eggs in water and males deposit sperm. Their eggs are jelly-like and laid in masses. Most frogs do not have parental care, but a few will carry tadpoles on their back or allow them to develop in their backs. It's a little bit disturbing. Frogs have elaborate life cycles, starting as tadpoles, which are aquatic with gills, and undergoes metamorphosis by growing legs, losing the tail, and replacing the gills with lungs. Order Apoda means without feet. These are caecillians, which are limbless and appear as segmented worms. These segments help move moisture all over the body to help with breathing. They do have one large lung as well. They have a head with rudimentary eyes and jaws. Sometimes the eyes are covered with thin skin, making them blind. They're found only in the tropics worldwide, and this species is fossorial, meaning they live underground with a few living in aquatic habitats. They have internal fertilization with a copulatory organ, and most bear live young, with some laying eggs. And speaking of eggs, the next video will start on amniotic vertebrates with reptiles.